Hello and welcome to Night Pages. I'm Paige, and today I wanted to talk to you guys about my works in progress. So, without further ado, let's get started. Finishing projects is hard. I know, it's a big reveal. The secret, it's out. But no, seriously, sometimes you start something, you get distracted by the shiny new yarn, you get distracted by the shiny new pattern, and things get put down and perhaps never picked back up. And I'm certainly extremely guilty of this. So, what I would like to accomplish today is going through what I currently have a needle or hook in and seeing whether it's going to fall into three categories. If we're going to finish it soon, if we're going to work diligently on it and finish it in the near future, whatever near future means, and what we might perhaps just say, this isn't the project for this yarn, and give it a good old unravel. One of my most recent creations is one of those works in progress that took 2.5 years. And that's not because I was working one stitch a day for 2.5 years. It's because I would work a few rows here and there, set it down, 6 months later, pick it back up. Now, this was an amigurumi project, and it was a large amigurumi project. It's about yay big, so it was a massive project, and I was doing it out of passion. It was also not something that was quite expected of me to finish, so it just went on the wayside ever so often until finally I said, I'm done. I need this to be done. And I was able to slam out the rest of it in about a week. That brings me to the current projects. One I think that's already in the I'm going to complete soon category is this scarf right here. Let me grab it and not throw my needle all the way everywhere. As you can see, this scarf is almost done. It is, let's see what yarn this is. It's Loops and Threads Charisma in Mountain Majesty. I don't know if that's visible. I see people do this all the time. I guess to help autofocus. What do you guys, can you see? I don't know, Mountain Majesty, and it's gorgeous, and it's a beautiful fall color. And as it's going to be fall soon, please, I would like this to be done. I think it's 2 skeins. I can't tell you when I started it. As far as I can tell, this is the end of the first skein right here. And this keeps clicking. One thing I'm going to have to learn is to sew in my ends for knit stitch projects. I do a lot of crochet, but very rarely knit. So that's what this project was, is to get comfortable with the knit stitch. And I actually learned something new with this project. This I've been calling my knit stitch scarf. However, the knit stitch is the stitch that you're doing across the row. When you do knit stitches on both sides, they call it garter stitch. And then when you're doing knit on one side, purl on the other, for that classic knitted appearance, that's a stockinette stitch. So knit stitch scarf, garter stitch scarf, it would be synonymous, but I didn't know that. And how I'm choosing to remember it is stockinette stitch, stocking goes up the leg, and then garter stitch, a garter goes across and like around. More you know. So this should be done hopefully in the next week or so. I'm going on a little weekend trip, and so I'll be taking that with me and hoping that a completed scarf is what comes home. Next up is the I want to work diligently on to finish soon. And it is a cardigan. I don't really make a lot of clothes, a lot of wearables. So this will be one of the first ones that I'm doing. Way back, like quite a few years ago, I knit a sweater. It was one of my first knitting projects, and my skill wasn't quite up to it. I had a very hard time making it, and that's why we're doing a get comfortable knitting project to kind of recover from that experience. I'm definitely for just throwing myself into a project to try something new, but it was on a deadline because it was for somebody's birthday, and I completely messed up the entire yoke, the neck and shoulders, so I had to unravel it a month before this person's birthday and just slam out an entire sweater. Anyway, we're going back to the comfort craft of crochet. And I have been quite obsessed with granny square cardigans, and I was like, I want to make one. The pattern that I chose was not a granny square. What I did do is this little mushroom, and it's absolutely adorable. Let's see if I can get it closer. It is the Cute Mushroom Coaster Pattern by Divine Debris. And so this red right here, this was the very first one I did. And you can see like the sides is very misshapen. This was one of the subsequent squares, so it's much better on the sides. I think that my color changes were a lot easier, and I got better as I did more and more. This is one of the first color work projects that I've done. Usually I'll just color change and just be completely done with it, or color change each time. And so this is the first time I've actively left yarn active in the project as I kept working. So that was very interesting, and it takes me a very long time to make a square, and I don't quite know how many I'm going to need to make a cardigan. That's in the figure it out later bucket, but it's going to be quite a bit. But that's the project that I'm hoping to have done before fall. I do remember when I started that one, I started it in April. I worked on it for a little while and it got put to the side because of summer activities, and it's really hard to make fall items and winter items in the summer because it's just so hot. But I really want it to be done in time for Halloween, I think. So Halloween's my goal. That's about it for the projects that I'm going to complete soon and the projects that I'm going to complete in the near future. I'm actually pretty proud of myself for not having too many in the hook that I know of. I'm looking over at my yarn stash because there may be a hook somewhere else. We'll deal with that later. Next up are any projects that I'm currently working on that I would like to not be working on. And as you can see, there's still two piles of yarn behind me. They're both scarves. So these are Caron cakes. I really like the colors for it. But if I'm already making a scarf that I already really like, how many more scarves do I need? Just feeling this garter stitch, knit stitch scarf, it's going to be really warm. It's going to be very satisfying. Whereas this is a bit thinner. I don't think I would actually wear it much as a scarf. I just chose to make a scarf because that's what I'm familiar with making. So I think I'm actually going to unravel this and then figure out what I can make with the Caron cake. And then this one is the same exact situation. So a Caron cake, I'm used to making scarves, so I started making a scarf, and I wish that I still had the label for this because I don't know if I'm using too small of a needle for it. I mean, it looks pretty good. It looks pretty good. It's just so thin. And as far as like the colors, I'm sure I loved it when I bought this, but right now I'm not feeling the vibe, which is okay. It was my vibe, and it might be my vibe in the future. I might like it later, but right now the idea of what this would look like in a scarf, it just doesn't seem as appealing as when I started this project. So this will also be an unravel, and I actually have quite a few of these Caron cakes. I remember I got them when they were on sale, so I might be seeing if I could find like one cake projects to knock all those out of my stash. I'm finding it a little bit limiting in what I could possibly do with it. I think hats. It'll be a hat palooza. If you have any ideas for any projects that would take one Caron cake of color changing yarn, like please drop a comment down below. I would really love to know. Anyway, I do think that was all that I wanted to talk about today. Thank you so much for joining me, and hopefully I'll have an update soon on the progress that I make and the projects that I'm going to continue making. All right, thanks so much for watching. I'll see you later. Bye!